Welcome to Off the Record Podcast. Brandon already starting off. As soon as we hit record, he cackling over there. But look, we got a special show tonight. Listen, we got one of our pod bros on here along with his beautiful wife.
For sure.
His better half. But this is special because we're gonna get into the podcast a little bit, but we have them here because they stepped into a new. Well, I will let them explain that to you guys. But they became Black business owners, and I wanted to celebrate this, and we have to celebrate this. So, welcome Drew and Jasmine. I call them Mr. and Mrs. Beer God because they are killing the brewing game. And we all know Drew from Diapers and Haircutz. He's already the beer god. I dubbed him that a year ago. He just took the game to another level. So we had to have him on to explain what's going on. Drew and Jasmine, welcome.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Appreciate it. Feel welcome out this joint, you know what I'm saying?
Hey man, you the bro of the pod, man. You already know that.
For sure. You guys have always been allies, and this has been going on like 2-3 years now. We've all been in cahoots, so it's always good. Something like that, it's always good to see y'all doing well, and we still listening to y'all, we still supporting y'all. So by all means, we felt honored when you reached out to us and said, hey, we got to get you on the show, and I was like, hey, when?
Right. You only had one request.
I don't have one request. I needed all four of y'all on here. I need all four. The last time we did something in a collaboration, all of us was under one roof. Unfortunately, it's not that way now, thanks to old COVID, but it is what it is. But in the same aspect, it's always good to see all y'all faces, see that y'all well and y'all good to go,
Mike, let me say something real quick, man, because shout out to Drew. When he came up, he knew that I don't drink beer very often. But when he came up and we did the joint pod, he brought me a bottle of Uncle Nearest. And I'll be damned, by the end of the night, I was lifted. Shout out to Drew, man. Shout out to Drew for that. Because I now have a couple bottles on my bar downstairs that I keep around just because of that, man. So I appreciate you for doing that.
Nah, no worries, man. And that's my thing. Like, I'm very big on relationships, and like, I'm not the person that's going to like push beer down your throat. If you don't like beer, cool. If you're willing to try something, okay, we can get froggy. But if not, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that you're included on the conversation with whatever it is that you like. So whether it's, bourbon, whiskey, tequila, rum, gin. No, I ain't gonna say
that. And shout out to you, because I reached out to you. I think it was like last year because I was looking to pick up some beer because I hadn't had any in a minute, and you pointed me in the right direction, man. So again, shout out to you for that.
Hey, anytime, but we're all about the liquid over here.
Yeah, we were definitely hitting Drew in the beginning of the pandemic. Like, hey man, I'm looking for a good beer to try, man. Where can you lead me to? And you definitely looked out for us, so we appreciate it. But hey, that's enough about you. We want to get the beautiful lady next to you and hear some more about her. Jasmine, first of all, welcome to Off the Record.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming and joining us and joining your wonderful husband with us tonight. So tell the people about you a little bit.
All right. So I kind of fell into beer because Andrew was doing, I'm sorry, you're Drew. We're informal right now. Drew, he was doing the beer distribution in DC. So of course I was the guinea pig for everything. I wasn't really drinking a whole lot of craft beer. I wasn't really drinking a whole lot of beer, period. So of course, if it's in the house, he's gonna, try my palate, see what I like, what I don't like, and it just kind of exploded from there. So I guess you could say I've been drinking craft beer maybe about
8 years, something like that.
Yeah. So it was an accident that kind of worked out in a good way because it expanded everything. I'm not just drinking wine, or I'm not just having cocktails. I can have a beer and it's a good beer, and it can be, Black girls drink beer, but we'll get to that.
What's your flavor? You like a IPA or something more light?
I do specifically like IPAs, more on the New England style. So the hazier, the better. The juicier, the better. I will say I'm trying to get into sours. It's not working out. I'm trying, but everything isn't for everybody, and that's okay. So
yeah, not to sound like a lush, but I usually choose the beer that has the highest alcohol content in it. Like,
that's good. Okay.
That's how I try my beers.
This quick thing, right? So hazy. So remember when we did the collective episodes, we had that spirit bomb.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't supposed to pop that second can.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I heard about it and didn't hear about it again.
Okay.
You know what? I was trying to remember the name of that because that beer was amazing. It was really, really good.
Alex has said the Kamehameha wave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. That shout out to those that watch Dragon Ball Z, man. That definitely hit the spot.
But look, enough about these other beer companies. We're here to talk about Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company, started by Jasmine and Drew. Listen, man, this is big. This is huge. I love to see it. Just from the standpoint of husband and wife, black owned. But knowing Drew from Diapers and Haircutz, like I said, I dubbed him Beer God. And to see him doing something that he's so passionate about, I was so excited to hear that, man. So listen, let's just jump into it. Like, where did this come from, man? How did you guys start with Liquid Intrusion, man? And what made you start this? Like, we probably know, but let the listeners know. What made you guys jump into this?
Primarily, like I said, my background was in beer sales and all that stuff. So I knew how to sell beer, knew how to drink beer, right? We all do. And then from there, at that time, I was working for restaurants and all that jazz. And then the pandemic happened. So I'm at home. I ain't got nothing to do. My wife is teleworking, so I'm irritating the fuck out of her.
You gotta get out my face. Find something to do. Go in the other room. Just stay out of where I am right now.
You need to find a fucking mommy. So from there, and I'll go into detail about this because the story should be said on this podcast. I was able to be blessed to come across a brewing system from another black man who was in the service who actually passed of cancer. And his wife had posted it online and was like, hey, it's free pickings. I'm never going to brew a beer. This is all my husband's stuff. I'm going to let it go. So it was a complete chest freezer turned into a draft system. It was a 3-burner, handmade propane burner and all that jazz, pots, all the things that you need to really start up and get going. So kegs, et cetera, et cetera. And I slid in her DMs is the best way to say it. And I told her the dream of what I wanted to do. I was like, hey, I'm a young black entrepreneur. I am very big on beer. This is my background. I would like to try to start my own thing one day. And hopefully, if you're willing to give me some stuff or stuff isn't spoken for, maybe I can come pick it up. And she was like, hey, some stuff, majority of all the things that I really wanted was already spoken for. But she was like, the rest you can come and get. You just got to get a truck and go from there. Mm-hmm. So showed up. I called my father-in-law. I said, hey, I need
his poor little truck out the driveway and was like, hey, I got stuff I need to pick up. It's not going to fit in my truck. So he had to go pick up my father's truck.
I said, I need that truck and I need
do what
to
you
borrow.
gotta do.
I was like, I need to borrow your son as well, too. So tagged him along. And then the D&H boys came out with us as well. And we went to her doorstep. Nice. And, she opened the door and I told her who I was and what we were doing and what I believed in. And she was like, look, man, she's like, you remind me of my husband so much with your passion of beer. She was like, although this shit is spoken for, take it all. She's like, take it all. And we're talking about, anywhere roughly to about $5,000 to $6,000 worth of equipment. Like my draft lines and all that stuff, like the pours and everything. they're Perlix, and that's considered like the Cadillacs of the game. Like I got 4 of them bitches. You know what I mean? Them things is like $250 a pop.
Wow.
So I'm seeing stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this is coming into fruition. And then after seeing the gentleman going through all of his books, seeing his notes and all that stuff, I'm like, damn, I would have done the exact same thing. So it's kind of like a weird divine intervention, right? So we've been practicing styles, brewing. I found my hobby. I'm doing this, and I'm like, babe, try this. And she's like, damn, this is actually really good. And then there's some days she'll actually come downstairs like, hey, why don't you show me what you're doing? Because there are days where I'm extremely tired. And she's like, that shit's wearing you out. Maybe I can jump in and help you. And to be honest, like, because we got some beers that we'll show you, our IPA that we do, I came up with the recipe, but I couldn't perfect the liquid. And then my wife said, you know what? Get the fuck out the way. I got this shit. And then
sometimes it needs a lady's touch.
It did. And she brewed the hell out of it. And I was shocked and I was stunned. And I was like, hey, how would you feel about making this a thing? How would you feel about like us actually going to market with our liquid? And then we was like, you know what, that'd be cool. And it was like, all right, well, we like calling beer liquid versus calling it beer because it is a liquid. And then it was like, the representation of African Americans is less than 1% across the nation as far as Black ownership and Black representation in the craft beer game. And I was like, you know what, how about we intrude on this market? So hence Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company. So, scientifically, it's about how porous water is through malts to create wort and then in turn to create beer. But we definitely want to intrude on a market that is less representative, whether it's people of color, women, et cetera, and go from there. So Liquid Intrusion. And our thing from there is like, it's all about the liquid. We don't care what your background is, your orientation, your race, your financial situation, your credit score, where you are in life. And if we hold true to those values, may the liquid always prevail.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen. Well, I can see your passion, man. I'm excited for y'all, man. I'm excited for y'all because you could tell we already knew, but our listeners, I know y'all can hear his passion in his voice for, this. This seems like this is exactly what you need to be doing, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people out there looking for like purpose and shit. You seem like you are doing exactly what you need to be doing, and I'm happy for y'all too.
Yeah, because he's been in the beer industry as far as pouring the beer, presenting beer, drinking beer, selling beer, and he knows how to market it, but he's never been on the side of selling. Or I'm sorry, not selling, but making.
Yeah.
So it was easier. It started, of course, as a hobby because making your own stuff is cheaper. It comes out cheaper. And plus, you know what you're putting into it and you can tweak it to however you want it. So when it got to a point where we thought it was good, okay, let's pass it off to our friends and family. Let's see what they think about it. And we got mainly positive reviews. It was like, okay, well, let's see how far we can take it. And again, we're starting to ship it out to our beer friends across the country. Again, getting positive feedback. Okay, let's make this a thing. Not just for fun, but let's turn this into a business for generational wealth. We're here to continue the bloodline of making beer and to make sure that our future is secure as well. It's funny how this all turned out into something that you do for fun, but you're making money. So, hey.
So great. And so question to that. Drew, I noticed when you said divine intervention just a few minutes ago. When did you actually know, or when did you actually see the divine intervention to where you guys knew like, okay, Liquid Intrusions can really be something to where it can take off and it can flourish?
It was kind of at 2 points. One, it was definitely when the lady who gave me her deceased husband's stuff, I was floored at that moment. And I felt at that point, I was like, at some point, I need to do something to represent your husband as well, too, which I'll talk about later. But from there, because like she didn't have to give me anything. She didn't have to say yes. We didn't have to come to her house. And then on top of that, after I talked to her, she didn't have to say, hey, fuck it, take it all. Right. But from there, we went up to Barrel and Flow Fest last year. So Barrel and Flow is a Black-owned Black beer festival. So that less than 1% that I was talking about, it's all represented there. And everything.
And where's that?
It's in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
But it's coming up in August this year, and we'll definitely promote it and all that stuff, and I hope to see y'all there. You know what I mean? But if not that, the biggest thing is that it's all of that less than 1% is represented there, right? Then from there, all of the vendors that's there, as far as food, Black-owned, people of color, even people doing other type of vending type stuff. So like artists are selling portraits. There was a t-shirts. There was a cigar shop up there. There was everything. And it's all Black-owned, minority, people of color. And it's such a overwhelming, beautiful moment. And the biggest thing is like, I don't know if y'all ever been to just any other old beer festival, but like, it's not the same.
It's a different vibe. It's almost like you're around family. It's very comfortable.
Giant cookout.
Yeah.
So do you see like a lot of, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of Black beer drinkers, but with us being less than 1% of the breweries, one would think maybe Black folks just aren't into beer like that. But what do you guys see? I mean, because you guys are talking about going to festivals. Do you find it a challenge to kind of like to get people who might not be beer drinkers to try your stuff, or what is it like? What do you see out there as far as Black beer drinkers? Are we out there like that?
Are we out there?
We're out there, and it's something that we say a lot. A lot of people say they don't like beer or don't drink beer. We just have to find what style you like, and that is represented in the core four that we'll talk about later. We do cater to those that are novice drinkers, all the way up to those that are more complex. So, like Drew said, we are definitely out there. And it's also just trying to find that safe space, or getting more education out there to let them know, okay, well, this is what you look for in a beer. What do you taste when you're drinking a beer? And again, you don't have to necessarily start with the hop bomb or something that is high in ABV to get started. Like I said, you can start with the lower tier, and work your way up depending on how your palate is developing.
Yeah, and I'll hop in there and I'll backtrack real quick. So Quan, to finish out about the Divine Intervention, when we went to Barrel and Flow and we presented all of our beers that we took up there, we went, the first night is like a bottle share, so it's everybody's drinking. It's a 4-hour window of high octane beer. We're talking from 3% to 32%. So take that for what it is. But I talked to the owner directly. Hey, me and my wife want to present. Can we do that? He said, sure, that's what it's there for. And we went up there as home brewers, and we came back as brewers. All the brewers that tried our liquid said, hey, y'all aren't home brewers. Y'all are brewers. Y'all got this. Y'all just need to just hone it in a little bit, because, we weren't in fancy shirts that we're in now. We just had beer cans and just shooting the shit. But when we got that affirmation from the less than 1% to say, y'all are welcome and y'all can do this, that was, we was like, all right, to the moon, let's do this. But to get back to what you were saying, Brandon, we're out there. Like I said, how my wife said, everybody likes beer, you just don't know what style yet. So it's kind of those things like, well, what do you resonate to? Do you drink beer at all? If so, what kind do you drink? Right. And then from there, my next question is, well, are you a coffee drinker? If you're a coffee drinker, then boom, I can automatically push you to stouts or darker beers, because the roasts mimic what coffee beans give. And there's also coffee beer out there as well, too. So, there's avenues in the beer, and there's way to find it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do y'all drink like regular shit like Modelo? Because I mean,
no,
that's like my favorite shit. And that's probably like, that's like the bottom of the barrel. Like that's like the coffee snobs. They don't drink coffee from Keurigs. Like that's like the
So here's my thing. Like Modelo is still a beer, right? There's still a market. There's still a market out there for it. It's great liquid. Don't get me wrong. There's still a market out there. And here's the thing about it. Like, people try to think bad about Modelo. Negro Modelo is the textbook recipe for a Vienna lager. The Spaniards who originally brewed the beer went to Mexico and sold the recipe off down there. And then the Mexicans took that shit and made a beer with it.
This is why we call him the beer god.
Right. So why we?
How do you know that?
Why we here? Because
I don't know. I really don't.
If you guys remember when we did the joint episode and like he taught us how to drink it, the beer, how to sip it, how to everything, and it was totally different. It was a totally different experience than me just cracking a can and tossing it back.
And just tossing it back, yeah.
Jerusalem's like, wait, hold on, wait. Y'all not doing this shit. Right? let me show y'all how it's done, okay?
but speaking of this, I want to play this clip, Drew, and Jasmine, you jump in here on this too, because for us not so beer god people, right? This clip I'm about to play for you, I need you guys to break down what the hell you're talking about, okay? Now, listen, what I'm listening to, I'm like, damn, he know what the hell he talking about. But I really don't know. Like, again, I'll speak for myself. I'm not a beer. That's why I call you. I love beer, but I'm not a beer guy. Yeah, I would drink like a Bud Light or something like that. I don't mind it. And then when I told you that, you were like, nah, bro. So that's why I was like, all right, let me get you. Help me out. Help me find something. Okay. Especially after tasting the beer that you brought to us. So watch this clip and then explain to us in layman's terms what the heck you're saying.
Hey beer friends, Django Brews here. Everybody was asking what was I brewing, so here it is, full video. Did a dragon fruit shandy. Did about 5 pounds of dragon fruit to this beer. The flavor didn't really come out the way that I wanted to, so when I racked the secondary, I pretty much went out and bought a bunch of tropical fruits. So it's now a tropical shandy. Sitting about 5% ABV, really good beer. Tasting phenomenal. It's now sitting on CO2, so I can't wait to taste it when it's finally carved. Did use Chick-fil-A Diet Lemonade on this. No preservative, no additives. Took a little long of a process to filter it out because of my small filter, but nonetheless, it's brewing. So, hey, remember, sanitize your yeast packets, your hands, and your cutting utensils. Cheers.
Damn.
What the hell does that mean, dog?
Yeah.
Like, what is
it's like the MacGyver.
Yeah, like the second racking.
That's like the MacGyver of beer, yo.
Bro, like, yeah. Like you could just tell with your face, your face, you was homed in like the wizard. Like you knew
what is dragon fruit, yo? How do you even know?
Yeah,
like how do you even know to put dragon fruit?
Wait. I need to know what racking is, the second rack or whatever. I'm probably saying it wrong, and all of that. Like, what is all it? Like, explain that whole process you just went through.
All right, so starting out, so one dragon fruit, tropical fruit. I something that I was like, you know what, a dragon fruit shandy would sound dope. You know what I mean? Because the biggest thing, like for us, back in my beer rep days, Leinenkugel Summer Shandy was like the beer of the summer before sours came out. And I was like, we could probably corner that and make it happen because it's traditionally a German style beer. And you don't see people of color making shandies. So why not? Right. But from there, I was like, well, let me put a twist on it and see what we can do. So we said, well, I'm like, babe, what do you think about dragon fruit? Like, well, yeah, that's cool. And when we got it, we was like, we don't know how this is going to take because the flavor was very mild. It wasn't super sweet.
Right.
So it's
not
like
very sweet.
So it's like, okay, cool. So I'm trying to think of the video of everything that I said in there. So starting out, we said tropical dragon fruit shandy. Then we added a bunch of tropical fruit to it. So we did papaya, guava, mango, papaya, stuff like that. I think I said that twice. Watermelon. Pineapple, stuff like that, just to try to bring out that tropical flavor to the beer. And then when I said rack in the secondary, that means transferring your beer from a primary vessel to a secondary vessel. So when you do fermentation goes into your primary. So primary fermentation, that's where you pitch your yeast. And the thing about beer, so to kind of dumb it down, think of fermentation process and yeast and stuff like that is like yeast eats fermentable sugars to
like
create alcohol. So it's like Pac-Man eating the white dots, right?
Okay.
So while you're in fermentation, you're creating alcohol, but also when you are in fermentation, primary fermentation, you don't add a lot of your adjunct fresh fruit to primary. You add it to secondary. So when the beer is totally clean, yeast is falling to the bottom, and it's done fermenting, you rack it to secondary, which pretty much means transfer.
And you're taking it out of the yeast. So the yeast is it's giving it a second chance to clear up more, and then you can add your additional adjuncts to it as well.
Right.
Oh.
So when I said from there, it's tasting pretty good because from there, every step of the way of the brewing process, or when you go to mashing, which is where you're extracting the fermentable sugars, it's pretty much steeping a bunch of grains in hot water, right? Then you go to boil. That's where you start adding your hops and all that stuff. Then you chill it down to fermentation temperatures because yeast lives at certain temperatures, and it's a different range for every style of yeast. Yeah. There are some yeast that survive at 100 degrees. So if you're in the summer, put it in the garage and let it go. And there's some yeast that survive at 32 degrees. So you have to maintain that temperature because the yeast reacts a certain way and gives off certain flavors. When you rack the secondary, like my wife said, you're trying to clear up the beer a little bit. Any particulates, it'll float to the bottom. But if you leave beer on yeast too long, it'll give off flavors. And that's something that you don't want. So from there, I said, can't wait to put it in the keg and put it on CO2. So for beer to get its bubbles, it's CO2. So you hook up CO2, you do about 12 to, if you're really trying to quick carb, you can do about 40 PSI for about 5 hours. But if you're trying to really carb perfectly, it's about 12 PSI of CO2 on the beer, and that'll help it get its carbonation, its bubbles, and go from there. And that's what helps create head retention on top of the beer, et cetera, et cetera.
And the entire process is about 3 to 4 weeks.
Yep.
3 to 6 weeks, depending on the style of beer.
Wow.
So
3 to 6 weeks for how much of it are you making? Like it's like a barrel of beer, or it takes
right
3 to
now
6 weeks for that?
Right now we're working at 5 gallons, which is about a case of 24 beers.
It's about two cases.
2 cases.
Yeah.
Of beer, sorry.
My
math ain't mathing. But yeah.
But yeah, so and no matter the volume of liquid that you're producing, the time frame of brewing is going to be the same. The brewing process takes about 8 hours of your day. Then when it ferments, that's about 1 week. You go to secondary fermentation, that's 2 weeks. Then you rack to a keg, then you put it on CO2. That's got to do about a week and a half. Yeah. So you're about close to a month to actually serving the beer.
And y'all do your own bottling too?
Canning,
like,
brother. Canning. Whoa.
Okay. How do you put it? How do you put it in the can and see? I'm like watching a Disney movie right now.
So we have a can seamer in the house. It's actually downstairs. What we do is we actually take the beer. We'll pour it from the tap when it's perfect and ready to be served. We'll pour it up to the rim. We got lids. Put it on there. Can seamer. It's a little arm that like pretty much puts 2 seams on it, and it crumps it down, and you're good to go. You got yourself a cold beer.
That's dope. Dope. Look at y'all.
We'll slap a sticker on it. Well, the label, but it's not a sticker, and then go from there. But everything that we do, the liquid, the promotion, all that stuff, the canning, the labels, everything. Creating the labels, it's all us.
It's really dope that you guys have decided to start a Black-owned brewery, because a few months ago, the brothers from Black Viking out in Montgomery County got on my radar, and so I've been looking into that more. So it's crazy that I know somebody that has opted to start this kind of company. You mentioned it being less than 1% of Black people in this. I've been wanting to get my hands on it, man. I've been wanting to get a hold of Sean and Jamil, man. So, but anyway, less than 1% of black brewers out there, right? And it's funny because you see athletes, rappers, entertainers always do things like Black-owned cognac, right? Like Black-owned fruity drinks. Why don't more Black people get into this? Because Black folks do drink beer. So like, what's stopping so many from giving it a go? Is it just the cost? Because to your point, it's $5,000 worth of equipment. And it's crazy how God removed that obstacle out of your way, right? For you guys to get this stuff and to do what you're doing. But it's really just a cost thing where we can't afford to get into such an industry.
So it's a lot of things, right? So one, it's about what beer is actually marketed to us, right? So once again, it's going to be the mainstream beers, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Modelo, right? And then if you go back call it what, 10, 15, maybe 20 years to, our parents and all that stuff. What was marketed to them?
45.
Malt liquor and stuff, right? So
Shout out to
that's
Billy
the
D.
thing. But yeah, cold. Sorry, but from there, you have all these beers, all these beer styles, because there's hundreds of them out there. They were still out there. They were still a thing, but it just wasn't for us. But then when some younger generations actually came across it, some people being a unicorn like me, actually working in these industries, like, you know what, this is actually really good. This is a thing. There's actually quality beer out there versus me out drinking the same thing, because we can all say Miller Lite, Coors Light, Bud Light, it's damn near the same thing. You know what I mean? They're all different brew practices and all that stuff, but it adheres to the same market, and it's just that easy to go to American beer. But like when you get to craft beer, there's quality ingredients that's actually in there. There's quality adjuncts, and there's actually time, effort, and love into it. So to start a brewery, yes, it is cost. Cost is a thing, and for that, you need buku bucks to start a brewery. But now that a lot of these breweries are hitting their plateau and their brew schedules are not as vast as it once was, how do they keep the cash drawer ringing without producing so much more liquid to funnel out there? And then you get into the realm of contract brewing or alternating proprietorship, which helps the little people, the little brewers, actually get into a place to brew at a larger scale and be able to mass distribute their liquid, which is something that we're looking to do as well. So the gift and curse is primarily finances and creative control. So contract brewing is like, okay, I'm going to come into your house. I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars for you to produce my recipe, which I have to hand over to you, right? And I have to really hold on to your integrity that you're going to brew it to the specs of what I want, right? And alternating proprietorship is that I'm going to come into your house. I'm going to pay you to rent your vessels and days to use your equipment. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to brew my own stuff myself. And I'm going to keg it, I'm going to can it, and I'm going to do it my own way. And then from there, I can take it to market. Both ways you can take it to market. It's just how quickly your beer can be turned around and how receptive the market is to your liquid is as well. And that's a very quick way. Now, yes, does that cost money? It does. Does it cost as much money to create a brick and mortar and do upfront and all that jazz? No, it's barely a quarter of that, right? So, and the more barrels and batches that you turn over, the more capital that you can raise to where you can actually get your own brick and mortar and go from there.
And it also could be a factor of intimidation. When it comes to craft beer, you see the market that you see, or the audience that you see majority of the times, are white men with, flannel vests, flannel shirts, long beards,
lumberjacks.
Yeah, the lumberjacks. So it doesn't seem welcoming, because again, when you go into certain beer bars, you might be the only Black person in there, and they might try to gravitate you more towards, a lighter Pilsner or a lighter IPA, not knowing, okay, well, I'm coming in to get a farmhouse, or I'm coming in to get a double dry hop IPA or something. And, you start talking and they finally realize that you know what you're talking about. Then it's like, okay, well, let's get you here. Let's if you like this one, let's try this one.
Right. So
I do think that it's, like I said, just going back to what I said before, the whole thing of education. It could be a thing where someone didn't have a great experience trying, something new, and they just go back to what they're comfortable with.
And then the next thing that really put Black folks on the radar, especially in this industry, is the cultural appropriation that's going on. There are a lot of beers out there with rap lyrics with rappers on them, like the Bill Street Space Age Sippin', 8Ball and MJG on there. You know what I mean? But the beer's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, the beer's phenomenal. But is the brewery Black owned? Or how diverse is the employees in the brewery? You know what I mean? So you can be deemed to actually really have these beers with all of these things on it. I've seen a beer with the Outkast Stankonia album cover on it. Brewery's white as hell. You know what I mean? But the things that's going on in the industry, the cultural appropriation, people feel like it's okay that it's hip, it's vibe, it's nostalgic, but also what it is that you're representing has nothing to do with the culture, and that's the issue.
One of the reasons I stopped drinking beer all those years ago, or at least I don't drink it regularly anymore, is because it's high in carbs, and it can make you gain a lot of weight. Is it possible to produce a good beer that's not high in carbs, or are you guys doing things like that?
So is it possible? Yes. Is it something that we kind of want to do? Maybe not right now. The biggest quick fix is the brewer seltzer, which is something I don't want to do. But in the same aspect, there's a market out there for it, right? There are people that are health conscious that can do it. The light beers, there are a lot of breweries that I see nowadays that are doing light beers because in the middle of COVID, everybody was drinking beers while teleworking and etc. And they gained a lot of weight. So I was like, well, how can I curb this? But there's ways to do it. There's ways to do low alcohol beer as well too. Gluten free as well. So, but right now, are those things that we want to do? No. Will we look at some of these things? Yes.
So you guys spoke on the education of it, and I wanted to play another clip that I have queued up for you guys. You guys recently were featured or part of a feature on WSA9. So I want to play this clip, and then I want you guys to kind of tell us a little bit more of this movement that you guys kind of staked your claim in. I mean, you guys kind of went into that, but I want to get a little more from you on that. So let me play the clips for everybody.
Black-owned brick-and-mortar brewery in our area.
Who want to try a Mai Tai seltzer? Mai Tai?
Yeah.
Mai Tai?
Yeah. And on this particular day,
Dean, I have to talk to you.
It's vicious, ain't it?
that brewery
This is what seltzers are supposed to taste like.
is where the DMV's black beer brands got together.
Joy Hound, definitely.
Some meeting
Great beer.
for the very first time.
This is an industry that's underrepresented as far as diversity, and that's a problem.
It's really about education and access.
We realized there wasn't a space for us.
And first of all, shout out to y'all, man. That is dope. That is super dope. And I'm glad that I'm glad that they're putting that on the forefront, especially in this area, right? But yeah, man, give us a little bit more about this movement that you guys are a part of, and like you said, we spoke about it a lot on here. That 1%, like. Are y'all ready to carry? Y'all might have to carry a lot on your shoulders to put you guys and put us black beer drinkers on the map, and especially in this area that we're in. So, man, tell us more about that.
So, for us, so Alex hinted to Black Viking. So Sean and Jamil is a very good example of what you're talking about, right? So, how we kind of really stepped out there on social media. I was just on his IG lives, and next he was like, hey, one day I want to get you on the IG live and talk about your brand, because I'm very curious about what you guys got going on, and I think it's really dope. And I was like, yo, cool. And from there, me and Sean has been like this, like he's a legit ally. And then he later on had Patuxent Brewing on his live, and they said on a Thursday, on a Thursday, they was like, hey, any black home brewers or anything like that want to come down here and have us try your beer, bring it. I drug my wife down there on a Saturday, same week, and we sat there and we gave them the liquid. We tried them on it, and they were very receptive to it. So from there, we've always been in the back of their mind. We've always showed up. We've always answered the call whenever anybody asked anything of us. So once again, when this scenario happened, it went to one brewery. And they was like, well, why not? I don't want to do just me. How about we do the whole DMV and show what the DMV is doing? And we're so blessed that they actually thought of us, And with that mindset, everybody is like, okay, we're our own brand brewery, what we got going on, but we're all standing in solidarity, you know what I mean? Arms locked and doing whatever it is that we can to help represent ourselves as black brewers and also represent the DMV as a whole. So there's people all the way from Waldorf all the way up to Baltimore that are black breweries and black brands. That's including DC as well too. So for all of that, we're all in a group chat. We all talk. If anybody's running into a bind or if they got an issue or something like that, everybody's willing to help or give, advice or whatever the case may be. And if anybody has a lead on something, they say, hey, I got this going on. Y'all should probably do this too. So it's a one big giant collective. And we're more stronger in numbers is the best way to say it.
And I think it's a great opportunity to bring diversity further south. A lot of, and not even just the minority owned beer brands or beer brick and mortars, just breweries as a whole are what we call north of DC. So, northern PG County, Montgomery County, Anne Arundel County. Once you get to central PG and down, there's maybe 3. So to bring diversity is one thing because, like we said, we want to widen the 1%. So one day we can say, oh, it's just a beer bar. It doesn't necessarily have to be black owned. We want to get to that point where we're expanding just that much. But we want to bring awareness that there are beer drinkers further south in, DC, Southern PG, Charles County, St. Charles, Calvert. We're down here.
And then from there, PG County is, one of the most affluent, predominantly black counties in the United States. And there's no representation of craft beer here whatsoever. So it's like, once again, that's one of the things that I feel of myself and with my wife that we need to answer that call. You know what I mean? And I think that there's something that we can do. So, but the collective as a whole, it was dope. They pretty much invited us all down to Patuxent Brewing. Everybody showed up with their nail on. They brought their cans, their beer, and all that stuff. And it was just a great, joyous event. And everybody was trying each other's liquid. And then, there were some customers that came in there as well too, and they got to try everything and follow us on social media and see what we were all about and going from there. So, I was talking to everybody and funneling people to Jasmine to try the beer, preaching my, made of liquid always prevail and all that jazz.
He's the mouthpiece. He has to get the take care of it.
So there's that.
You gotta throw the passion in the forefront. That's what gets everybody going. That's that's the thing. So that's great. That's great. Now I do have a question for y'all because I do notice that you guys have about 4 different flavors as of right now, correct?
That's
okay.
Right.
So, and they sound amazing. All 4 of these flavors sound amazing. So the first flavor you guys have is the plum basil. Second is the lemongrass saison.
Saison.
Excuse me. My French. Saison.
My child.
You got to be cultured.
Excuse me. Okay.
So let me jump in here real quick on you, Quan. Like, while we talking about the beers, man, can y'all give us a little bit of a rundown of each flavor, so the listeners can know?
Let us go back. We're going order.
Okay.
So, like I said, we try to cater to the masses. We start off with our more novice drinkers all the way up to our more complex. So, everybody has something in one of these, what we call our core 4. So our first one is what we call our South of DC cream ale. Let me get it right.
And for those that, because of who I am, the host that I try to be, those that can't see the full can, I got this for y'all to see. This is the sticker on the can. Okay. This is the sticker on the can, so you can see it. So, and go ahead, guys, give a rundown of what was behind creating this one and what it tastes like.
So as you can see, we are brewing this at 5%. This was actually one of my ideas as well because Andrew's not necessarily a fan of cream ale, but we needed something that what we call light and crushable, something that you can drink, under the tree, chilling out and, at the beach. This is actually the base to the Shandy that we were speaking of earlier. So this is actually a pretty quick beer to brew. Light in taste, like I said, cream ale, because we are 30 minutes south of DC. And did you want to add anything to it?
The thing with cream ales, right? So cream ales are the ale version of a lager, right? So lagers are, your Miller Lite, your Coors Lights, et cetera, and ales ferment faster than lagers. Ales take about, like I said, about 30 days to turn over. A lager takes about 3 months. So with us being so small scale, we want to be able to flip beers as fast as possible, create more, and brew in abundance. And when we get more space, we can actually start lagering and presenting a beer that's remotely close to those drinkers. But for right now, that's something that is very clean, easy drinking, goes with any occasion, right? So like, sports betting, anything from like, football, and it pairs great with any food. Hot summer day, you can knock those back. If you're cutting the grass, you can drink that while you're on the riding more, and go from there.
And if you're familiar with Genesee in Rochester, New York, that was our inspiration. They make a phenomenal cream ale. And yeah, we wanted to see how close we can get to that recipe.
Okay.
Dope.
All right, what else y'all got?
So the next one's going to be the Lemongrass Saison, right?
Yeah, my fault.
Saison.
The Saison.
Hey. Saison. So the Lemongrass Saison, right? So it is brewed in dry hop with fresh lemongrass and Sriracha Ace hops. Coming at you about 7% ABV, so a little bit more of a heavier drink. Saisons are a style that's brewed by the Belgians and the French, right? They can be light and effervescent. They could be very funky as smell and taste. They're a pretty wide range style of adjuncts, flavors, smells, and et cetera, right? The inspiration behind this beer is behind Mr. Garrett Oliver. Y'all have heard me talk about him so much. Black man, head brewer of the Brooklyn Brewery. He used to make a beer called Sriracha Ace, and it was phenomenal. You don't see it no more down here, so I wanted to kind of try to do another rendition of that. Lemongrass gives off a very deep, earthy, kind of gingery taste, and the Sriracha Ace gives very good lemony, lemon zest flavor and aroma as well. So the beer is very funky to the taste, a little bit medium bodied, great smell on it, and go from there. We pair this with seafood. I did want to make sure we had a beer that went great with seafood, right? So anything. So, I used to work at a Belgian beer bar, so I'm very big on mussel. So even if you're drinking this beer with your food, you can also cook with it as well too. So it could be one of those bases. If instead of you doing white wine mussels, how about you put a little bit of lemongrass saison in your mussels or something like that? We're also doing like, flake fish, any type of seafood dish. This would normally pair well with as well too.
Dope, man.
Nice. Outstanding. What you got?
Moving right along, this is my pride and joy. This is what I call our hot bomb. This is our African Queen and her 7 Seas IPA.
One of our more popular ones.
One of our more popular ones. Like we said before, this was this was something that Drew was trying to get right. But, like I said, some things just need a lady's touch. So this is brewed with African Queen hops coming out of South Africa. Gives more of those stone fruit flavors, as well as your Falconer's Flight 7 Seas. So that is a hop that begins with C. So Columbus, Chinook, Cluster, Citra, Cascade, and I'm missing one more. Oh gosh.
No.
I don't know. But as you can see, it's coming in at 6%. And the Falconer's Flight 7 Seas complements the African Queen because it gives off those citrus flavors. So like I said, this is one that I was able to brew or to help Andrew perfect. I still need his muscle to pick up certain things. If I was able to do it all myself, I could, but I still need my honey.
So definitely great beer. This is the hop bomb. The 6% kind of makes the beer kind of middle of the road as far as alcohol and taste is concerned, but the hops knock you out of the park. Great smell, great body of that beer. The can art is phenomenal. That's something that I really wanted to do.
That's dope.
we wanted to do beers that pop on the shelf, right? That's a little bit of a marketing scheme, because when you look at, if you're a novice drinker and you go into a beer store or something like that, you're normally looking at what's eye level. And if you're a new brewery, they'll put you anywhere on the shelf, top, bottom, side to side. And I feel like all of these labels are something that's going to pop. And how we really want to do this, if you're looking at like a 6-pack or a 4-pack, one can will say African Queen, and then the other side, we want to have the can twisted to the point to where the African Queen is what you're actually looking at. So this is something that definitely sits well on the table. It's an attention grabber, because you don't never see a black woman with a head turban on a can of beer.
No,
No, you
I've
don't.
never seen that.
This is the first.
So
They need like a mahogany section, you know, where like for Hallmark, where they have that like the black owned beers and like the mahogany section.
Yeah, hey, that's an idea, man.
It's a great
That's an
idea.
idea.
Yeah, that would be
So-
dope. That would be dope. Now, you got one more.
Next
You
beer
got
we
one
got-
more.
yeah, one more. Oh, it's on me.
Yeah,
My
that's
bad.
on
All right,
you.
so the next one we got here is the plum basil. My
Plum
bad.
basil.
My bad.
Oh, hold on. Let me
So,
hold on.
plum
Let's show the
basil-
can.
Let's see the can first. Let's see the can
Yeah,
first.
I don't want to cut the can off. Show the can. My bad. I was a little quick on the draw. Okay, there's the can.
You're good, brother. You're good. You're good.
I just wanted people to be able
He's
to read and see
excited.
the
That's
labels.
okay.
So
Whoa.
our plum basil farmhouse ale comes in at 9%
9%.
ABV. This beer is our highest ABV beer. If we're going in the level of, like, say, from like our novice drinker, this is our most complex liquid that we actually produce. Farmhouse ales are traditionally beers that the Belgians and French, once when they got done with harvest, whatever crops was left over, they would throw them over into the boil to produce beer. And farmhouse ales aren't normally 9%. They're about 7 and under. But our story behind this beer definitely mimics what the Belgian and the French did. So my father-in-law, my wife's father, has a plum tree. And he had a very big harvest and was like, hey, y'all need to get over here and get these plums, because my neighbors are actually stealing them off the tree. So we actually didn't make it over there. So he brought down like 4 bags of plums and said, hey, brew a beer with it. I'm like, okay, I'm a little overwhelmed by this, but we'll see what we can do. Then the next day, my manager, she has a herb garden, a spice garden and stuff like that. She's like, yo, I got this basil plant. It's about to die. You should probably take it on and, brew a beer with it. So I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this? So one day I was like, you know what, Jasmine, let's, dice up this basil real quick, put it on a plum and try it. And it was like, oh shit, this is really good. And I started thinking like, okay, we can brew a beer with this, probably put some Belgian yeast on it and let it go from there. So, and this beer takes the most time, effort, and love for. We brew this beer with 5 pounds of fresh plums, about 3 ounces of fresh basil. So that's a lot of work of deep hitting plums and all that jazz. And the beer comes out phenomenal. This beer is very complex, very heavy. It comes out very sweet, tart with the plum, nice little rose color to it as well too. Then from there, the basil undertone earthiness comes through, and then it finishes off with a very lemony tart taste from the yeast. Complex, a very long, weird ride for your palate, but it's very pleasant. This beer is very received very well. This was a beer that we didn't think was going to work. It was like one of those things, like
It was an accident.
Bob Ross, happy accident. You know what I mean? And it's phenomenal. And like even all the breweries that we've given it to when we was in Barrel and Flow, even at the roundtable discussion, everybody's like, "Yo, that's the one. That is the one." It was like, okay, cool.
And even though it's at 9%, and it's a sneaky 9%,
It
you
is.
don't realize it until you probably drink it too fast, and now you're sitting there sweating, trying to figure out what's going on.
So, I mean, and you guys have seasonal beers too, right? 2 seasonal beers.
Well, we actually have we have 4 seasonal beers,
Okay.
but you probably know about 2. So one of them is the Strange Fruit Shandy, which you put up the video on. There it is. The Strange Fruit Shandy, once again, it was our dragon fruit shandy, but we call it Strange Fruit, right? Because we did a bunch of strange fruits in there to kind of bring it out. The base of the liquid is the cream ale, and we blend it with lemonade, right? We also wanted to call it Strange Fruit to pay homage to Nina Simone with the song and everything like that. But we didn't want to be too out there with it. So with the logo, we put the piece of pineapple that looks like watermelon on the inside.
Dope.
So that right there will be our summer seasonal. That one's really good. We're hoping to corner the market for rooftop bars, things of that nature. It's like, all right, we're out here, drinking something light, easy to go. And if you don't want flavor in your stuff, then just grab a, South of DC cream ale.
Okay, and this is the other one that I have.
Hey.
Oh, good old solo season. So that is our pumpkin ale, 5.5. So the inspiration behind this name, like I said, it's our fall seasonal. Around that time, you'll have certain people that'll come out in their, like I said, their flannel shirts or their flannel vests, and they're wearing the boots, and they're drinking those spice lattes. So when you're thinking about that,
like
wait a minute, that kind of think of Han Solo. He wears there we go, solo season. And this will probably be our first cease and desist. But we're out here having fun with it.
Let me take that off then. Let me take that off.
Well, I actually wanted to try that one.
I was gonna say I may have to try that one. I may have to try that one with my pumpkin donut, especially when it's a little bit nice.
Yeah.
It's
really
spiced up.
good. It's dope liquid. The liquid's it's a little bit more on the brown ale side compared to what you normally see in a pumpkin beer. We brew it with real pumpkin, real vanilla, real cinnamon. Was a coriander and nutmeg in there as well. We put a little bit of lactose in there because I really wanted your brain to kind of register that you were actually eating a slice of pumpkin pie with a dollop of whipped cream on top. And it came out phenomenal. Once again, it got received very well because, just to be true, us Black folks, we don't eat pumpkin pie like that. But if you drink this pumpkin ale, it's like, oh shit, I might need me a slice.
So, and then you guys have two other seasonals that I missed?
We do. So you didn't miss them. We actually haven't released the logos for them or anything like that.
Okay.
So our Q1 beginning of the year for St. Patty's Day, we want to do a dry Irish stout. It's a beer that I've brewed a lot, but I haven't actually created a label for. We wanted to make sure we had a dark beer for the dark beer drinkers as well, too, to show that we're not just only brewing just lighter colored beers and things of that nature. Because, some people, we're prepared for questions of, well, why don't you have a stout year round, or et cetera, et cetera. And, sometimes stouts, they don't sell as fast in the summer and springtime versus, some other things. Like, there's St. Patrick's Day. That's the day. But other than that, it kind of falls off until the season comes around. So that's for St. Patrick's Day. And then our winter ale, we're calling it a poker reference, Flop Turn River.
Okay.
So it is a winter ale brewed with fresh apples, ginger, and cinnamon.
Okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, y'all got mad concoctions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we get our hands on some of this craft beer? Like, can I get it directly from you, or can I go to the store and get it?
Well, to the OTR boys, you can get it directly from us. All right. That's how we roll. But currently, right now, we're in our licensing phase. So right now, we're kind of at a standstill. But what we're looking to do, to anybody that's listening, follow us on our social media. So Libco 2021, Twitter and Instagram. And then, Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company, Facebook. But go to our website, libcobeer.com. We're going to start selling stickers. And the stickers will be a little bit expensive, but there'll be a surprise. There'll be a surprise in there for you, Okay. And that's what we want to do to try to get the train rolling for us and start building some more capital for us. But also with that, there's a newsletter on there, so definitely sign up to that, and you can be a part of everything that we got going on. But for the OTR boys, we'll talk after we get off the live, and we'll go from there.
And also to the listeners, Yesterday's price ain't today's price.
Right.
Just remember that. Just remember
I better know that.
But no, man, listen, this is amazing. I have another clip that I want the people to see of you guys, kind of highlighting the beers that you just went over, man. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you guys were in a competition and you did pretty well.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at this. And then hold that, Jasmine. Then I want you to start and let me know how this competition went.
I got you.
Little rock out session right there, but
oh man,
yeah.
Clearly, you guys. Listen, man. I seen, as everybody can see watching, I see a lot of ribbons there, man. So, how was that competition process, man? How did it go? I mean, what were your expectations when you entered? Like, give us a little bit on that.
So again, we kind of fell into it because we go like we said, we're brewing the beer, we're bringing it back to our homebrew shop. Shout out to Annapolis Homebrew in Severna Park. But we were going back and forth, having them sample certain beers that we had, and they brought up to us the idea of entering the county fair, the Anne Arundel County Fair. And we're like, oh, but we don't live in Anne Arundel County, it doesn't matter. You can still enter it. So it actually fell the same weekend as Barrel and Flow. So we pretty much hustled getting all the beers canned for Barrel and Flow, as well as getting the beer prepared to be entered into the county fair. The fortunate part is that we didn't have to be present. So, it's an anonymous entry. They were able to transport it for us because, again, it's anonymous. They don't know whose is who. And we came back with 2 ribbons. So the Lemongrass Saison won second place, and the Farmhouse Ale, the Plum Basil Farmhouse Ale, won first place as well as first in its class. So we're like, okay, we're out here doing it. We had high expectations, here tooting the horn, but
we knew we was going to win, so it is what it is. No. Joking, no. It was dope. Unfortunately, like I said, we had to hightail it up to Pittsburgh for Barrel and Flow, but when we came back, like, the homebrew shop was so ecstatic. Oh my God, you won. I was like, we did? Huh? I was like, us? And because once again, everybody that we tried the Plum Basil one, they were all about. And the lemongrass placed second because one of the judges hates lemongrass. It would have won. It would have won. But other than that's about it. But yeah. And that's another thing that kind of goes into that divine intervention. It's like, okay, well, maybe we're not doing wrong here. We're on to something. This liquid is good, and kept pressing on over there.
Yep.
Well, man, and then so obviously that was a busy weekend for you guys, and just a couple snapshots for the listeners and the watchers. Like, clearly, you guys are out here traveling, making moves, making connections. I believe this was in Ohio.
Yep. Yes. So that is Sizzle from Crafted Culture, Ohio. So he is a black craft brewer with a brick and mortar, and he has a black bar that he does only black-owned spirits in. So if you want Hennessy, you're not going to get it there because it's not black-owned. He's selling conjure. You know what I mean? Okay. And he's actually his total bar, all the liquors that he's carrying, he's like the number 10 account in the state.
Wow.
Nice.
Dope.
So he's doing big things, and all of his beer names are pretty dope. We're looking to do little collaboration in the future with them, and going with it from there.
And then here again, I think this was Cincinnati, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So we were
y'all
in Cincinnati.
moving. Y'all making moves.
Yeah.
It was actually a semi spur of the moment trip. So my mom is actually from Cincinnati, and I wanted to give Drew a tour of, she grew up and, turn it into a beer tour as well. So this was actually one of the spots that we stopped in, Esoteric Brewing Company, which is actually the first Black-owned brewery in Cincinnati. So we definitely had to go in, show some respect, try their beer, and we had a good old time.
And that's the owner. His name's Brian Jackson. Great guy, produces great liquid. He was very humble, because when we sat down and said, "Oh, well, what makes you, what brings you in?" He was like, "Oh, we're from Maryland. I'm just trying to see Cincinnati, and we're actually in the process of opening our own brewery." And it's like the antennas went up, and he sunk his teeth in on us, like how he had his arm around us in that picture.
We were like family.
I still feel it till this day. And he's asking us questions. He's always reaching out and all that stuff, and we appreciate him so much.
Super dope, man. Listen, fellas, y'all got any other questions? I got a couple more, so I don't want to boss it, but I'm excited on this one. So I will let y'all get in here if y'all got some questions.
Go ahead, brother. Shoot.
Nah, I want y'all to ask questions too.
We've been asking questions the whole time.
We got answers.
I am interested. I'm interested in the whole dynamic of you working with your wife. We talked about this earlier. Like how are you guys kind of like balancing that? I mean, because you guys are in business together. You're obviously married, and I know we talked about just on a previous episode, kind of separating our work life from our private life. Do you guys have to separate it, or are you guys just so intertwined? I mean, how you guys deal with, and being in business with your spouse?
So we do have to create a brew schedule. We have created a brew schedule so that one, we are continuously producing. We don't like empty taps. That's not what we do. So we do create a brew schedule, and then we have learned, okay, we've been working at this for, I don't know, so many odd days. When was the last time we went out? When was the last time we did this? When was the last time we did that? We do have to figure out how to turn that, business owner off and turn it back into Mr. and Mrs. because it can get to a point where the line is blurred. And we don't want to get to a point where, okay, we're watching football and the next thing you know, let me do something to the website real quick, or let me post this real quick. And I mean, not saying that it doesn't happen, but we don't want it to get to a point where, it takes over everything. Once it's time to go to bed, we put the phones up, put the laptops up, and it's just up.
And, our house is a three-story house. So the bottom level where the garage is at, we've already said like, okay, this is the brewery, and all brewery talk is down here. We make things happen. And then when we go upstairs, that's it. And the only time we actually do brewery things upstairs is if we're doing stuff for advertising or featured on people's lives, featured on podcasts, et cetera, just because it gets a little drafty down there.
Yeah.
But other than that, and that's the biggest thing. And we still continue to date each other. We have those conversations, we have those talks, because even still as, husband and wife, we still got to have the hard talks as well too. We still got to talk about finances, right? And then now with the business, that's two sets of finances that we got to talk about, so and then we got our dog, and then we're trying to start a family and stuff like that as well too. So these are all things that
got a lot on your plate.
It is, but we're doing it. We're making it work, and that's one thing that I'm proud about, because it's not like we're at each other's throats or anything like that. There's been some days, but once again, mostly my fault. But from there, a lot of it is just definitely just trying to make it work, keeping a schedule, sticking to the schedule, and it's working.
And it does help that I've known him for quite some time. We're high school sweethearts, been together for almost 15 years, been married for almost 2. So it helps that we know each other. We know our buttons, we know our triggers. We make sure that we avoid those so that, our personal life is great ish, and so that our business life is great ish as well.
And then as far as the business is concerned, like, I'm the social butterfly. My wife isn't, you know what I mean? But she's doing so great with it. But in the same aspect, like, when there's an appearance of the wife, like, I'm so honored, and I feel that the places that she appear at, she definitely respects the people that she's, preaching the gospel with and into. So, she knows y'all from me saying like, oh, hey, I'm about to go up to, Columbia and go hang with these guys and do a podcast. She's like, okay, be safe. And then she got pissed that, I gave away her beer. But hey, it's y'all fault. I'm not taking that one. It's y'all fault. I need to apologize right now. But from there, she was like, she's been on board with this, and it's just really dope. And I can't thank her enough. So, I love you.
No. Oh, that's precious. Now I know. I mean, being entrepreneurs. I mean, and you guys may have other businesses. I'm not sure, but assuming you're new entrepreneurs. I know there's that initial. I would say kind of like a mental barrier where you haven't been an entrepreneur before, or you haven't done something of this magnitude before, and there could be a sense of fear or hey, can I do this? Obviously, you guys are breaking over. You've gotten over that initial hump. What got you over that? Like, what motivated you to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it? Because I know you talked about having resources and stuff before. How did you get over that initial hump?
You want me to go, or you want to go?
I guess just talking, doing as much research as we can, and having the confidence to say, okay, well, my ish is good. Let me go ahead and push it out there. Of course, the worst thing that could happen is that we fail, but at least we tried. We, can't continue with the what ifs of, we have this plan, but you don't do nothing with it. So at least we're out here trying to give it a go to make it happen. But like I said, the worst thing that can happen is that we fail, but at least we have the satisfaction of saying that we tried.
By any means necessary, this liquid must prevail. There is no quit. There is no give up. There is no this fails. We got this. We're going to do it, and we're going to make it happen. And it's very bad for me to say, but in the same aspect, like, there's different avenues for us as African Americans to pave the way in certain lanes in society. Like, you still go back to the civil rights era. You have Martin Luther King, John Lewis, stuff like that. I'm not trying to be the Martin Luther King Jr. of beer, but we can pave a way and put ourselves on the map that this thing can happen. And creating that lane and creating that avenue, I would know that we can survive in this. We can make it happen, and we can make something to the point to where the younger generation can get into beer and know that in whatever space that is, because you don't have to be a brewer to be in beer. You could be a malt farmer. You could be a hop farmer. You could be a biologist, chemist, making yeast, things of that nature. And if we keep creating this circle and the cycle and this collective, the sky's the limit, and we got to take this thing to the fucking moon.
For sure.
I love the mindset that you guys have with it, and just like you said, I mean, there's no in your mindset is like there's no other options. This has to work, and when you have something, when you have support, and when you have people that are pushing you, and you have, it's like you said, you have the mindset of the people that came before us, our forefathers, coming before us and trailblazing. It pretty much puts you in a position to where you got to go. You got to go for yours, and it brings awareness to other people that have innovative ideas and that want to put something out here and create something in the world. So just support you guys, man, and just salute you guys for what you're doing with the beer company. I think it's amazing. I think it's great.
Appreciate that.
It's definitely super, super dope. And one of my last questions for you guys. you guys have accomplished so much already, right? So what's next? What's next for Intrusion Brew Company? Like, what do you guys? I mean, without giving up too much, we don't want the people to know what you got behind the scenes, but what do you guys have in mind, and what do you want to see happen next, as far as moving this thing forward?
I got it. So two things, right? So right now we want to get to the point to where we're actually licensed and legal, so we can actually start, ringing the cash register is the best way to say it. Start making sales. But in line with that, if we can't do that, we still want to do avenues to where we can still get the liquid across people's palates. So next month, the DMV Collective, if that's what we want to call ourselves, we got 2 events next month that we're going to be a part of. One is that we're going to be at the Brass Tap in the National Harbor, which is it's a franchise beer bar, but this franchise is actually owned by a Black husband and wife operation. And we think it'd be so dope to have the Black Craft Beer Collective there, supporting a Black-owned business in February, right? So be on the lookout for that. We got something going on with that, and then we'll actually be at a off-premise site beer store called Whitey's up in what's that? Lithicum Heights, Maryland. So I think that might be more close to y'all way. I don't know. But if
that's close.
Yeah. That's around here. Yeah.
Come up there. The collectors are all trying to gather up there as well too. Alex, you'll probably be able to meet Sean because he'll be there. And go from there. And then what else? Later on in the year, so August, Barrel and Flow. We want to be there, but this time we want to be pouring at Barrel and Flow. We went there last year to introduce ourselves. I think the greatest 1-year turnaround and the greatest 1-year achievement is to be like, all right, it took us a full year. We're back at Barrel and Flow, and we're actually pouring to the masses and going from there. Later in the year, we want to get into contract brewing, so we start brewing in abundance. So instead of us doing 5 to 15 gallons, we can do anywhere between maybe 600 gallons. I don't know, something along those lines. So, and from there, the sky's the limit, and just create capital to the point to where we can start breaking ground somewhere down here in Brandywine to start our own brick and mortar.
Man, well, listen,
that's great, man. That sounds like a plan.
The OTR boys are behind this.
Yes, we are.
Any support that you guys need, of course, we gonna be there. We got you. So just give us a shout.
We're gonna always pull up.
We will always pull up. But I gotta get this one in too. I gotta give a reminiscence. I gotta show a reminiscence.
Wow. You have to put the picture with the pizza.
Hey man, like this was real fellow.
Trulies on the table.
That is some Trulies, man.
That's a spirit bomb. That's a spirit bomb.
And look at you talking.
Yep, pretty much.
Hey, so that's reminiscent, man, of some great work we put together that night, man, and we always appreciate
it. Was awesome.
the fellowhood, and of course, man, whenever you guys come back, man, we got to do this again. We got to collab again, man.
Oh yeah, we're ready.
We got to make this collab again, man. That was great. It did well.
COVID be damned, man.
Yeah,
COVID be damned.
The hell with COVID. But listen, man. This is the time I want to give you guys the opportunity to plug your stuff, your social medias, your websites, anything you want people to know, where they can find you, where they can talk to you guys, where they can maybe, try your liquid, Plug away, guys.
Pull up.
So, first and foremost, Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company, LIBCO for short, libcobeer.com. That's our website. You'll see everything on there. Our extended roundtable discussion with WSA9 is on there as well too. It's about 30 minutes long, so you can get to see everybody and who they are and what they do for the collective of the Black craft brewers of the DMV. Sign up to our newsletter. It's like a little bubble down to like the bottom left. From there, you can put your name, your email, and all that stuff, and you'll be a part of our newsletter. So when we have things that's coming out, we'll shoot it out to everybody so everybody knows. Social media, Twitter, Instagram, LIBCO Beer 2021.
And TikTok, if you're into that.
And TikTok, if you're into it. I use it to pretty much steal the music. But anyways, from there, Facebook, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company as well. and pretty much everything that comes in, whether it's via DM or whatever the case may be, it comes to both of our phones. So somebody will be replying back to you. So Mike, everything that you sent me, she saw. So
okay,
thanks.
cool. Now that I know, I won't say, "Hey, bro, I sent the link."
No, it's all good. It's all good because the person that you need to talk to, you'll be talking to, and we know that.
Cool. Well, listen, man, this is around the time we close out. So, fellas, man, the OTR boys, any last thing, any well wishes for these guys? We closing out, so this is the time. What you got, B?
Yeah, well wishes, of course. Like I said before, man, y'all seem like y'all doing exactly what you guys need to be doing. Mm-hmm. I'm happy for you both. Just let us know how we can help, man. Just let us know how we can help.
Come on, what you got, bro?
Appreciate it.
No, just thank you guys for coming out and being able to, to spread awareness and to talk to the followers and the viewers, and to share your story. It's amazing. It's uplifting, and you know that you have our support in everything that you guys do. Thank you guys once again, and like I said, we'll be supporting you guys always.
Alex, what you got, bro?
Appreciate that, man.
Man, genuinely impressed by you guys and really proud of you, really happy for you. And I would imagine you guys are going to achieve all kinds of success. So I'm happy to be able to hear a little bit of you guys' story. I'm also really proud to see you all put your love on display, right? A black man, a black woman. There's a lot of people that act like we can't, like black men and black women can't get along, like our relationships don't work. For you guys to love each other, support each other in this business, I'm very impressed by all of that, man. So I can't wait to try your beer because I'm going to try your beer, even though I'm not a beer drinker. I'm gonna try it.
Oh yeah,
that's a high honor right there,
Alex, bro. I appreciate
that. Now, man, like I said at the beginning, this is a special episode for me. Drew, I've always said to you, man, like you need to do a beer pit podcast or something, man. You're very talented in this, so. To see you doing this, man, I am more and beyond happy for you guys. And like Alex said, to see the two of you, a beautiful black couple, doing y'all thing, man. By the way, y'all was fly at y'all wedding. I saw the pictures and videos. Y'all was very fly.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So again, man, anything you need from us, we're there. We appreciate y'all coming on. Jasmine, thank you for joining. Drew, I know he said you don't like to do this all the time, so we appreciate you really coming on this and blessing us with your presence. So thank you. We gotta do this again, man. Next time y'all got something else going on, come on, man. Let's push this out to the people.
Sure. Next release or something like that, we got to have y'all press it out for us. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. Seriously, from the bottom of our hearts. OTR Mike, man, the Beer God shirt is actually hanging up in our office, just so you know. So it's always inspiration and stuff like that. I got it in the mail and I was like, man, I want to wear it, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to wear it. I gotta hang this joint up. So
a jersey in the bathroom.
Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Legendary. So we appreciate it. We appreciate everything that y'all do. Y'all keep doing y'all thing. Y'all keep pressing on. Y'all keep going with the OTR and everything else that y'all got going on. Y'all produce dope content. Y'all know that. Y'all are legends in this game. Each and every one of y'all. So keep doing what you do. Appreciate y'all, and may the liquid always prevail, man.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
The liquid always
I'm trying
prevail.
to pull up to one of them events, man.
Hey,
like
man,
I said,
we're gonna talk off the live, man.
We always gonna pull up, Chad.
But listen, if you see this logo, support Drew and Jasmine, aka hashtag Mr. and Mrs. Beer God. They in the game. They about to kill it. They about to take over this thing. All right. So if you see this support, follow.
We're here, our children.
All of these All right, people. We appreciate y'all listening in. Until next time, we out.
Peace.
Peace.